Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss about Tensei Shitara Slime Taken. Rimuru's elegant escape. So without any ado, let's continue. Rimuru's elegant escape, 03. After pondering for a while, Diablo set out without hesitation. He hurried towards someone who certainly knew about Rimuru's whereabouts. And the place Diablo arrived at was the information control room, in other words, Souei's room. As Diablo knocked, Suka answered the door and asked what business he had. Kyufu. I have something to request of Souei Dano. I want you to convey the message. Souei-sama is currently busy. Please come again later. Suka went and rejected his request straight out. However, Diablo wouldn't give up just like that. Now, don't say that. Or what is it, you plan on getting rid of me by force? Diablo enforced overwhelming intimidation while still having a smile on his face. Suka tried to endure it even while biting into her lips and making a grim face, but... Stop it, Diablo. If you want to come in, just come in. As a reposing voice came from inside, the tense air was also lifted. Yes, then I shall intrude. And like that, as if that was the natural procedure of things, Diablo casually went in and sat down on a sofa with an air of composure. As Diablo relaxed, a demon chevalier appeared out of nowhere and began serving on the table. Seeing all these with a side glance, Souei coldly asked, "What do you want?" Diablo did not answer immediately. He first took a sip of the black tea the demon chevalier prepared. And then, he surveyed the room. Now then, judging from his subordinates, Suka's, actions, it seemed like he was having some sort of a conversation with Rimuru-sama just now, but Souei is tight-lipped. There was no way Diablo would get an answer if he asked normally. However, he tried going head on this time on purpose. Diablo decided on that after thinking a bit. Kyufu. It's simple. Where is Rimuru-sama at the moment? What are you talking about? Shana and Shin are with him. Surely you jest. If it's you probably know where the real Rimuru-sama is, don't you? As Diablo went silent after saying that, Souei also looked at Diablo head on and went silent. And at that moment, both of their calculations mixed. As for Diablo, he planned on following around Souei wherever he went. As long as Souei doesn't confess, he just had to follow Souei around. And Souei had accurately read Diablo's thoughts and instantly came to the conclusion that that would prove to be an obstacle to what he was going to do now. However, it would be difficult to say the least to get rid of Diablo, and he isn't someone Souei can deceive easily either. I don't think I need to say this out loud, but you do understand that I won't leave you until you answer me, right? Thought so. You won't believe me if I said I didn't know, would you? Of course I wouldn't. There's no way you, who is connected to Rimuru-sama physically to always be able to have contact, doesn't know of his location, right? Diablo answered with a smile. And in fact, Souei indeed was the only one who had a physical connection to Rimuru among other connection methods, so that he can make contact if by chance things were to go wrong. And that physical connection method was a connection formed with sticky steel string and shadow space. It is an application of the string telephone method, but with this, it is possible to convey thoughts even faster than normal conversation with the help of complicated encrypted transmission. As there are some beings who can trace communication between the subordinates who use thought transmission, they came up with this analog method. It is something Rimuru came up with in case of the worst case scenario, but Souei was supposed to be the only one who knew about it. How do you know of it? Souei was menacing. In response to that, Diablo was still composed, but, unusually enough, he laid bare his emotions. And in his beautiful face, he deepened the devil-like smile. Kyufu. So it really exists? I had thought Rimuru-sama would come up with something like that. I didn't feel the need for it till now, so I didn't bother, but the situation calls for it now, so I had to confirm it. He got me, was what Souei thought. To fall for a leading question, an unlikely miss for Souei. However, it wasn't just a miss on Souei's part, it was also the result of Diablo's skillful thought guidance. Souei wouldn't have fallen for it under normal circumstances, but the situation was different this time. Souei was in no situation to have a prolonged conversation with Diablo. He needed to act immediately. As such, he fell for it due to a slight impatience. Souei clicked his tongue and sunk in his chair. You will have to cooperate as well then, is that fine? Yes, of course. Souei asked Diablo with a sour expression, to which Diablo replied with a satisfied nod. And like this, Diablo and Souei began to cooperate and move accordingly. Giving up on trying to evade Diablo, Souei decided to insert him into the plan. Come in. As soon as Diablo accepted, Souei called out to the next room as they didn't have much time. Ha ha ha, Souei-han still has ways to go, huh? Being completely trapped by Diablo-han like that. Don't go provoking him like that, alright? I would even probably throw up if Diablo-sama were to intimidate me. Being called in, two beings walked in. A man, having a laugh at Souei's mistake, and a young lady, deeming it inevitable. It was Laplace and Tia. Shut up. Diablo joining was also part of the plan. We don't have time. Let's get this program together. Souei casually made it so that it looks like he didn't make a mistake and Diablo joining in was part of the plan from the start. Wah. Souei-han, glossing over your mistake like dash. Souei-sama said shut up, didn't you hear? Suka said, holding a kunao to Laplace's neck. Laplace, now having cold sweat, laughed and closed his mouth. Completely ignoring all that, Souei began explaining. It is true, as you have predicted, I have received a secret mission from Rimuru-sama. And that mission is dash. Souei told Diablo everything about the mission he received from Rimuru without hiding anything. He was thinking that he would need reliable pawns either way. The most important part of the mission was to not let Shin, Shana, and even Milim know of his whereabouts or his movements. Although Shin and Shana were already distracted by the body he left behind, Milim might come down from the sky to play like she does sometimes. Souei explained that Rimuru was worrying that if Milim was to find out about this when she comes, she might spoil everything. Well, if it's that Milim-sama. If she were to know that we are hiding something. That is certainly true. So that's why he went so far to not leave any traces. Diablo and Laplace understood. With that as the base, the group began discussing on how to progress with the mission. The mission objectives were the following. First, kidnapping only the students riding on the plane as Rimuru and take them to the Maldolando Island. There, they would release all of them and reform them thoroughly with actual battles. Second, investigation on each academy's corruption. The main point of this part was to confirm if there was anything wrong with the academies which might be the source of the students' corruption. And upon confirming that, he also said to inform Ingratia that the students will be a week late. There was a need to proceed with these two simultaneously. And the problem was that the plane Rimuru was on had already taken flight. It was a battle against time to not only catch up to this plane, but to also bring along a plane which could take in all the students. Laplace, do you understand why I called you now? Wah. Don't tell me you plan on using my air pirate ship dash. What else is there? You were bragging about it happily before, weren't you? Use it now. Laplace became pale. It seems this air pirate ship was quite important to Laplace. By the way, what is this air pirate ship? Diablo asked Laplace as he was curious. And immediately, as if he had regained his spirit, Laplace began explaining happily. Are you intrigued? Actually, I made it with the parts Rimuru-sama created, with my refined knowledge. I also had a battle with Benimaru-han's ship the other day and it ended in my overwhelming victory, yeah no? Rimuru-sama had said that he would increase the speed by 3 times if I die at red, so I did that half in doubt, but doing that was the correct move. Moreover, I also used the chip from Rimuru-sama which I received as reward for the underworld job and got a high-speed autocannon. And its majesty, man. It is definitely what you would call an air pirate ship. I am planning on installing electromagnetic weapons next, but this needs optics weapons which can produce high output heat dash. Wait a minute. Laplace was bragging on about his ship, but Diablo stopped him. There were many points to be concerned about, but there was no time to be spent on Laplace at the moment. I feel like there are quite a few things I should be concerned about right now, but did you just say that Rimuru-sama was also involved in this air pirate ship thing you made? Oi, now's not the time for that, is it? No, it's important, Souei. This chip point you used, you can get stuff like that from it? And Benimaru is also in this. Yes? There's also Gable-han and Gerudo-han. If nobody wants the object within a certain amount of time, the one who goes to ask for it the quickest, and if more than one person wants it, then they have to bid on it. It's the most popular hobby these days. Gerudo-han is starting by polishing his keel. That man is an expert. And dash. Ignoring Laplace as he happily kept going on, Diablo turned around to face Souei. Did you know of this, Souei? I did know that they were doing something, but... To think it had spread that much. Even Souei was not amused. You and I, the people who are supposed to be most knowledgeable about Rimuru-san, but it seems like we still have ways to go. Well, that's fine. Let's leave that aside for now and move on with the mission. Right. I shall investigate this properly once we are done with this. At that time, I would like an explanation as well. Diablo and Souei nodded and moved forward with the plan. They made Laplace shut up and gave him the job of kidnapping the students with the air pirate ship. As I thought, you're planning on using my ship dash. This is a message from Rimuru-sama, but he said if you are able to complete the mission, he would even prepare a letter of marque dash. I will do it. Please leave it to me. Laplace's whole face was lit up with a smile and he took Tia and happily rushed out. It would be better to limit the use of spatial travel so that Milim doesn't notice. Souei had already decided that this mission would best fitted for Laplace when Souei received the mission from Rimuru at first. However, it was their blunder that they didn't know there was such a rage among airships currently. Diablo and Souei reflected on that on the inside. And after that, the two of them began discussing about the second objective. It had been a while after the ship had taken off. Although the duration of flight is affected by the weather, the plane would arrive at Ingratia Academy City within 10 hours. However, this time, a certain event will soon commence. And exactly when I was thinking of that, Laplace came. The announcer had announced that the plane was now entering a state of emergency. Magnus kept on talking to me frequently, so Laplace really saved me. Why do I need to tell this guy about my favorite food or hobby and stuff? He isn't trying to hit on me, is he? I don't think so, cause I look very plain now as I was wearing round spectacles, a mask, and also had black hair. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter since Laplace is here. After all, starting now, he won't have the leeway to be hitting on people. Hi-ya-hi-ya. This ship is now under the rule of the air pirates' greed circus. Cry, scream, and despair as you please. A cheerful voice echoed inside the ship. Laplace, that bastard, looks like he's enjoying this to the fullest. He wanted a letter of marque because he wanted to do this, eh? Well, it doesn't really matter as it won't really affect me. He won't dare attack any of the Tempest Airlines ships, and it isn't really fun seeing the ships the other countries develop emerge into the sky. For what it matters, I have already confiscated all the techniques related to airships from the Empire. It was among one of the conditions to acknowledge the Empire as independent. After all, I would like the monopoly of the sky to remain under Tempest. Although I don't think it will ever happen, but, to prevent the usage of airships in wars between countries, this matter was one of the highest importance. After all, if you were to get rid of the skies among sky, land, and the sphere's only limited area where you can fight. Although I don't think there are any idiots out there who would come picking a fight with us, it would be difficult to stop other countries from fighting amongst each other. We can be the mediators, but intruding in their problems even before a war breaks out would only buy their animosity. And when I thought about it, considering all that, to have those wars not affect any civilians, removing flying forces would be the most effective. Airships are inventions which completely change the concept of wars. And because of this, there was a need for us to keep it to ourselves. As such, there was also a need to crush the airship-related inventions made by other countries. And so I was thinking of coming up with something to stop that. So if I were to just leave it to Laplace, he would happily do these tasks. All that's left is to make sure they don't find out I am the one behind this. I should be careful to not leave any evidence behind. While thinking of such things, I was observing the course of events. You can rest easy. I will protect you. This Magnus dude took my hand and said so without even feeling the least bit embarrassed. What's this? What's this? I felt like shouting that out loud. What, you can rest easy, I will protect, huh? Don't shit around with me, you idiot. In the first place, I told you I'm a guy. My heart is undoubtedly that of a guy. This Magnus dude really doesn't listen to other people. I ended up grumbling about him. I guess I will let it rest since I didn't say it out loud. Putting Magnus aside, I should go and do my job. A jolt raced through the ship, signifying that Laplace's ship had connected. The cockpit is probably in a state of panic right about now. First, let's rest at ease. I predicted such situations to occur and installed emergency transmission devices in every ship. I brought out a sticky steel string from my fingertip and promptly connected to one of those devices. With this, I can produce letters on the monitor using transmission codes. It would have been easy if I used thought transmission, but I decided to not use skills which leave traces behind as much as possible, but this is turning out to be quite difficult. Or so I am complaining, but actually, I installed these devices cause I wanted to enjoy moments like these. I am glad they are coming in handy. I will keep it a secret that I am having fun feeling like a spy. My message was shown on the cockpit's monitor. It seems like the aviation transmission decoder is reporting that to the captain with a pale face. I can perfectly grasp the situation with my spatial grasp. I also let them know that I am aware of the cockpit's situation. As expected of the aviation warrior elites. They moved exactly as I had predicted. A smile appeared on their faces as if to show that they were excited because this boring flight turned into something fun. More than anything, using my name was important. It was an order from the top of their companies. Of course they would be in high spirits. After that, things progressed smoothly. Hi. You see, I am in need of some strong subordinates. You people, you young and talented people. If you become my subordinate, I will spare your lives. I understand you're completely on board with this, but can't you do something about how you talk? If he keeps on doing this every time, and if by chance someone were to know that he is my underling. No, let's not think of something so far ahead. More importantly, I should enjoy this moment. Why, you bastard? To do this to an honorable teacher of Tempest Development of Human Resources Academy GUA. A brave teacher challenged Laplace as he was getting too excited. But, needless to say, he was beaten up. The teachers are more or less brilliant, but even the head of the year is about a rank at most. Normal teachers like these are of about B or a rank, so there's no way they could win against Laplace. That teacher has good prospects. It would be troublesome if he were to quit, so I guess I will go visit him later with some gifts. Fuff you, I am the strongest. Did you think you could win against me with just that? Naive. Laplace got passionate with his acting. He was glancing towards me, as if he wanted compliments or something. I hurriedly averted my gaze. That idiot, what does he plan on doing if they know we are allies? On top of that, the sign he slightly made with his hand was saying that he wanted more chips as reward. It is true that his acting is quite good, but what a cheeky little brat. And well, I was exasperated by Laplace, but the same couldn't be said of the other passengers. They were just about to panic. However, alright, stop. I just checked up right now, but it looks like there are quite a few students aboard. Huh? Captain, how about we kidnap these kids this time? Even if we kidnap that old man over there. Doesn't feel like he will be of any use even if we train him from now. Tia, It seems like she came over to this side after the linking with the ship was done. In the end, no more fights broke out on the ship. Because Tia came in with 2 passed out ride conductors. They were actually acting passed out. As even B-rank experts were no match for them, even the Academy's teacher group gave up. After all, there's a fear of the ship itself getting destroyed if a serious fight broke out. They probably made their decision considering that. And like that, they obeyed Laplace and the students got on Laplace's ship. Listen here now, don't you kids go around and be riotous on the ship, alright? If you do, I will be super angry, you know. That's probably him being serious. This ship is extremely precious to Laplace. He probably would rampage immaturely if even the insides of the ship got damaged. Or rather, I am impressed he even agreed to using this ship. It seems like there are more reasons behind it other than the letter of marque I suggested. He was probably intimidated by Diablo. Laplace was aware that he had a hard time dealing with Diablo, so he probably went for the letter of marque rather than trying to defy him. If so, then I should think that this situation is completely within Diablo's prediction. As expected of Diablo, seems like he read my movement quite accurately. After this and that, the students all got on board Laplace's ship. Even the ones from the luxurious rooms. It looks like Tia went ahead and made them shut up beforehand. And like this, just as I had expected, we succeeded in getting everyone related to the academies on Laplace's ship and headed towards Maldorando Island. By the way, this is what happened on the ship after we had left. We are extremely sorry for the commotion. The air pirates just now were just a sideshow our leader, Rimuru Tempest, had thought up of. It was planned to have the passengers feel a stimulation on this boring flight. Moreover, we haven't let the people related to the academies know of this to have them learn how to deal with emergencies. We are extremely sorry for the troubles. Such a broadcast was circulated. With this, the passengers' anxiety and fear was rubbed off and a sense of relief brought on a feeling of excitement for them. There was no complaints as my name was said. Well, there was no damage or problems either, so it can't be helped if people associate this incident with the rioting Laplace later on. If that time comes, I swore to myself to declare that they are copycat criminals. Besides, them associating this relation is also within calculations. After all, it would turn out to be an implicit threat that Rimuru-sama won't permit anyone else to fly these skies. I felt like someone chuckled a bit, but I guess it's just me imagining things. Thank you for watching. Like, share and subscribe.